It's a good time now to engage Schandorf Aqua. He speaks for the Lands Ministry. He joins me in the studio here. Hi.
Hi.
Great to have you in the studio. Let's delve right into it. The minority, they are of the opinion that the Lands Minister should resign or be fired.
Well, of course, good morning to yourself and to the rest of our listeners across the globe. The President had earlier indicated that when it comes to matters of our natural resources and indeed the whole enterprise of government, at every given point, we are welcome to criticize the output of government and whatever path that government is considering. But every form of criticism or feedback must be grounded in substance and fact. This one, unfortunately, does not have any of those. Indeed, I may want to say that it's a core that is bereft of substance. It doesn't have any leaning or legs to stand on. Because as of now, as I speak to you materially, at this particular moment, stakeholder engagements are currently ongoing with the view of refining the entirety of the agreement. Indeed, we just heard from Engineer Ken Ashigbe adding his voice to the fact that we have to deepen stakeholder engagements. And so if we are in that process, that has been truly necessitated by the factors surrounding the entire agreement, you begin to wonder, why would anybody then come and say that the man at the helm who is shepherding and spearheading the process ought to step aside? I find it as a mere political distraction, because what really is the substance? Now, he makes a case that, well, it's because at one point the minister was arguing fervently for the agreement and now he has taken another stance, and therefore that is a representation of inconsistency. I don't think that is an inconsistency. We need to situate change properly within an appropriate context. If, for example, today, and permit me to maybe use you for this particular illustration, if today you were going to, as it were, purchase an item, and then you were convinced that the price you were going to purchase it at and all the other surrounding factors were, as it were, good, but then there's a new development that compels you to change your mind, can we at that material moment say that you have been inconsistent simply because you are embracing a new development that is more beneficial?
Why are you engaging in stakeholder engagements now? Isn't that an afterthought?
It's not an afterthought. Prior, there had been stakeholder engagements. But of course, where there are new developments, you do not say that because you don't want to appear inconsistent, you would proceed with your earlier contemplations because, yes, you want to stay on a particular track, even when it is not favorable. Now, this is the point that I'm sure that you may even be aware. Lithium, as we all know, is a very volatile mineral, and the prices are always at every given point fluctuating. It's one of those minerals that, as of now, doesn't have any stabilized economic value. When the deal was first proposed, I think we all know that, it was $3,000 per ton, then it reduced, and then the fluctuations have continued. In the light of all of this, the investor clearly could not go ahead with production and then the operationalization of the concession. What did the investor do? The investor then proceeded to engage government and say that, look, there has been a global drop in the prices. Therefore, we have to go to the negotiating table again. In fact, just yesterday, I was in Ewoya and then Krampa, the affected communities. We engaged the locals. We represented the minister in an engagement with the locals on their views and their thoughts on it. And a lot of them, I can't disclose some of the conversations that we had with them, but they have new and brighter perspectives. And so if global prices are dropping, the community people, the direct beneficiaries, if you have to put it that way, are raising germane and new concerns. And the minister, in the light of it, therefore comes out to say that, look, in the midst of all of this, let us pull the brakes and then go to the table again. How is that an indication of failure?
You keep mentioning new developments. Apart from global prices dropping, what are these new developments? Of
course, that is the principal concern. But beyond that, there's also the conversation around local content. And I've had cause to explain on this particular platform that more often than not, when it comes to the management of our mineral resources, the locals in their communities do not benefit more often than not. That has been the case. And so you go to a community where mining of any mineral resource is actively ongoing, but the people's lives are impoverished. There have been concerns and calls from the chiefs and people of Ewoya, Krampa, and Krofo, and all the surrounding communities for them to have more stakes in the benefits that accompanies this particular mineral. But in the earlier agreement, all of this were not, as it were, explicitly captured, so to speak. And so if all of this are coming to the fore, why don't you just go back and then, just word and document them, present it again, and then the country makes progress? I struggle to see how a change in mind is an admission or an indication of failure. For example, you are here, you work with the multimedia group. If tomorrow there is an offer from an international media house that, okay, go and then become a BBC anchor, a CNN presenter today. If Fosti decides to change her mind today, would any logical person be, as it were, justified to come and say that Fosti has been inconsistent in her career path because he's embracing something that is more progressive? Certainly not. And that is why I've had cause to say that that call is just a mere political distraction, which the people of Ghana should not at any point pay attention to.
How long will this stakeholder engagement take? And how soon would the lithium agreement reappear before the floor of Parliament?
Well, so on Monday, we met all the civil society organizations. Indeed, Imani Ghana had earlier presented their view on the matter to government. And so it was incorporated into Monday's engagement. They were about, if my memory serves me right, about 15 CSOs who gathered together. They had a sit down with the minister and then they engaged. Yesterday, we were in Ewea. Next week, there would be more and more engagement. We are hoping that latest by the end of the year, we would have rounded up all the stakeholder engagements. Therefore, after that, we would come and then, of course, represent the bill on the floor of the House. Indeed, if it even becomes necessary, because of the interest of the people of Ewea. Indeed, look, let me just say this. When we went there yesterday, it was very obvious that they were agitated. They were not happy about the fact that their livelihoods had been truncated, and therefore they called for government to expedite action. In response to that, what we are now doing is that we want to just fast track the engagement. When we are done, even if there is a need for the resubmission of the bill to come under a certificate of urgency, I'm sure that government would consider that accordingly. So if you are on such a steady path, why should anybody call for the man at the helm to be dismissed or resign or whatsoever? And so, again, I'm saying that it's a mere political distraction that we should not pay attention to.
The concern is about the timing. How long is it going to take?
I did indicate today is if I have to check, today is the 17th of December. It means we have 14 more days for 2025 to come to an end. We are hoping that by the end of the year we would have concluded with all the stakeholder engagements. Indeed, within that period, when we are reasonably sure that we have dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's, I'm saying if it has to even come under a certificate of urgency, we will do that for the ratification to be done. Then the operationalization of the concession will commence accordingly. Then the matter would, of course, come to the closure that all of us are looking for. But as we are in this process, the focus and emphasis of the minister is a bill that would not only benefit the people of Ewea, but the entirety of the country. That's the focus of the minister as of now.